if you're massively overweight or if you're out of shape and you're drinking alcohol, 3 or 4 nights a week, you gotta earn it. Get yourself in great shape and then have the ability to go and have, a couple glasses of wine or a couple tequila drinks or bourbon, right? But if you're not in good shape, you don't like the way you look, you don't like the way you feel, you cannot justify drinking multiple times a week and then use that as well as like, well, I still want to be able to drink and get to where I want to go. Like, bro, no, you need to dial in before you have to earn everything.
All right, guys, today I got someone who's going to be dropping a lot of game on the fitness space and how it pertains to you. If you're a business owner listening to this right now, you're an entrepreneur, you're a real estate investor, you're a high-level performer, very, very important to take care of your body the way you want to take care of your business. And with us today, we got my man, Michael Sheedy, in the building. What's up, Michael?
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate you coming on, man. Excited to drop a lot of game, a lot of value for the listeners today. But first things first, man, you talk about nervous system regulation for entrepreneurs. We saw Dana White recently, a couple years ago. I mean, the guy was very open about it on social media, on YouTube. And he talked about how, he took some gene test breaks from 10X Health, Gary Brecka. And he was like, dude, based on his health as an entrepreneur, he was eating unhealthy. He was drinking a lot. He wasn't getting good sleep. And based on his blood work, they basically told him like he only had 11 or 12 years to live at that current state. He got into really good shape. And then now he's putting the weight back on. And so, we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of real estate investors that get really unhealthy. People focus too much on their business, but they don't focus on themselves. And I always say you got to pay yourself every morning first, because without the health, nothing else matters. And so what is nervous system regulation for entrepreneurs? What do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, I think something that's very overlooked for a lot of entrepreneurs, people that own businesses that are high performers, right? When I say a high performer, that's somebody that is getting after it every day. They're on calls, right? They're on Zoom calls. They're working on the business, in the business. You're constantly setting a new goal for yourself. You're constantly raising the bar and you're constantly chasing. I don't think there's anything wrong with chasing goals. I think we should all have goals that we're striving for, because that's how we maintain happiness, is by overcoming problems. However, in the process, what happens is you start to neglect your body, you start to neglect your mind, and you focus so much on the next outcome you're looking for in your business that in turn you end up getting more stressed, you end up getting more burnt out, you end up lowering your testosterone ends up plummeting, and your energy levels plummet as well. Your productivity slows, right? So you think, oh, I'm putting in more hours and more work, and that's going to equate to more money, but you're completely neglecting yourself. And when you neglect your health as well as your nervous system. So here's the thing, right? A lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I know this because I've been in that same place myself, they live in fight or flight, right?
What do you mean when you say that?
Fight or flight is that state of kind of this low level stress in your body, maybe a little bit of like anxiety, a little bit of adrenaline, right?
On the edge of your comfort zone.
You're constantly in that fight or flight, and you're never
fully relaxed,
or even pursuing any outlets that allow your body to get into what's called a parasympathetic nervous system state, right? Which happens when, if we're going for a walk outside without your phone. How many people wake up and first thing in the morning, what do? Straight to their laptop, straight to their phone. Love Alex Hormozy, but I do not believe in waking up and going straight to the computer. I think the first, 30 minutes to an hour of your day should be spent, setting your nervous system up and your body for the rest of the day, whether that's, reading, whether that's journaling, whether that's meditation, whether that's getting up and doing cardio and not touching electronics. But when you're constantly stimulating your nervous system, you're always on the go in fight or flight. That is when you're going to start running into problems with your energy, your stress, and then you end up, some people end up getting a stroke. Why did they have a stroke out of nowhere? Their stress was so high. I've worked with entrepreneurs who are like, dude, I had a heart attack, right? They weren't taking care of themselves. They weren't taking care of their nervous system.
Yeah, we're always under high stress situations. And I operate best when I'm like under the gun and like my back is up against the wall. And so I've done a good job of getting comfortable being uncomfortable. But where I've made this mistake, and this happens to me probably a couple times a month, where things get heavy in business. And what do we do as entrepreneurs? We're putting out fires constantly, we're solving problems, and we're just dealing with the shit within our businesses. We never spend time working on the things that are working great, right? We're always fixing problems, putting out fires every day. People are trying to take what you built, and so you get used to that. But where I make this mistake is, and I do a pretty good job of it, but every now and then I slip. I'm a big believer in like waking up in the morning and then like paying yourself first. So like first thing in the morning, I don't get into my phone, like you said, the emails, the texts, the social media. I don't do any of that stuff. I wake up in the morning, eat a little breakfast, I get hydrated, and I go to the gym and I lift weights. And like I always say, like the hardest thing of the day you should do first, but I also say like pay yourself first as an entrepreneur. Like pay yourself first, take care of yourself first before you go and take care of others. And so I do a pretty good job of that 90% of the time. But like I said, a couple times a month, shit gets heavy, shit gets overwhelming. And I'm like, dude, I don't have time to go to the gym this morning. And I'm going right into the office because I got to grind because I don't have a choice. And so on those seasons where I might go 2-3 days without going to the gym and I come in the office and I'm putting in 12, 14-hour days, exactly what you're talking about. It happens to me. The stress levels go up. I don't feel like the best version of myself. I'm not thinking as clearly because I'm not taking care of myself first thing in the morning.
Yep. You can't pour from an empty cup. And it's not, that saying sounds cliche, but it's more about your health, right? There's so many, men and entrepreneurs that I've worked with that, do really well and are making a lot of money, but they're super stressed out. Their energy is low and they're not happy in the process. What is the point of having all this money if you don't feel good making it?
Oh, agreed.
What's the point, bro? What's the point?
Yeah.
You tell me, because you can have both at the same time and actually increase your productivity by regulating yourself.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, man, but like for anyone listening to this right now, if you're in business, you're trying to build a big thing, you're trying to make impact, it's like, why would you not want to be in the best health of your life and the best shape of your life so you can have longevity? Like, I want to do this game, unlike professional sports, and I have like professional athletes on sometimes, and like I had Golden Tate on, NFL Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, Seattle Seahawks, and the dude's like my age, and he's like, bro, like he retired at like 33. And that's young, but like this game that we're playing is like you can play in your 60s and your 70s if you take care of your health.
Yeah. And you neglecting, right? When you neglect your health, you're eventually going to have to pay for it in some way, right? So we're delaying gratification. We're putting in the work now so that we don't have to take time off from our business or end up having the business suffer because we've neglected putting the intention and energy into ourselves.
Yep. So you mentioned morning routine, and you don't agree with Alex Ramosi, where he basically says like, fuck the journaling, fuck the yoga, fuck the meditation, wake up. He's like, you don't even have to make your bed, just wake up and start working. That's what works for him, right?
Yeah.
But
he's one of a kind. He's one of a kind.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I saw that episode that he did with
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
I just watched it.
And Tony
Incredible.
Robbins like basically like shook him in that interview. Like basically like that was a very powerful interview. Go check that out if you're listening to this episode. Tony Robbins and Hermosi, really good interview there. Now, what is the ideal morning routine that you like for an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So first thing in the morning, I always tell my clients, start your day without any electronics, without any blue light, without any notifications, without any social media. First 30 minutes of the day, at least. If you can do 60 minutes, that's even better. You're going to do no electronics. You're just going to work on yourself, right? This could be personal development. This could literally be, starting the day with some movement, but I like to wake up. I tell my clients to do the same thing. You're going to do water and electrolytes immediately. You don't want to drink caffeine right when you start your day, right? You're immediately going to spike your cortisol a little bit. You want to get cortisol, but you want to wait 60 minutes after you wake up. So caffeine should be done 45 to 60 minutes after you wake up. When you're sleeping, you're waking up dehydrated. Your brain needs water and electrolytes, right? Your brain is full of water. So if you're not hydrating yourself with not just water, but minerals, right? And electrolytes right when you wake up, you're not going to feel sharp and you're going to need more caffeine later in the day just to stay awake. Listen, I love my caffeine. I drink my caffeine during the day, but I also I'm hydrating first, right when I start my day, electrolytes and water. From there, I like to, I deep dive into personal development, right? So I'm reading a book. I think when you do that, it inspires you. It puts some positive thoughts in your mind because if you're always in your business, you're gonna feel stressed constantly. So you got to start your day in a way that's positive as well. So we hydrate, water, do some personal development. I like to even start my day with a cold shower as well. That wakes the body up. It wakes the mind up. You do something uncomfortable. You're telling yourself you can delay gratification. And then I like to also start the day with movement, right? So whether that's stretching, that's going and doing some fasted cardio, takes 45 minutes to an hour, and then you're good. You're good to go for the rest of the day, and you're going to feel more sharp and present during the day and not feeling like you need to give into comfort. And that's why people give into comfort, bro, because they're constantly living in a stress state. That's why they're reaching for the most dopaminergic thing, which is sugar, which is, the afternoon pastries, the sandwiches that are hyper palatable, all those things. And it's the constant perpetual cycle that most business owners live in.
Yeah, I agree with the water in the morning, the electrolytes, because coffee's good, but the coffee hits so much harder if you hydrate, electrolytes, water, get a nice workout in, nice lift, and then I grab my coffee on the way in the office in the morning. Dude, it hits so much harder. You said something, cortisone levels.
Yeah.
What exactly is cortisone levels for the folks that aren't
Cortisol.
cortisol?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what is that?
So cortisol is a stress hormone. So cortisol is actually it's not always bad, right? If you have too much of it, it can be bad, right? If you have too much cortisol, you're going to have trouble sleeping at night, right? If you have too much cortisol and you spike it first thing right when you wake up and you don't wait 60 minutes, that's when you have that midday drop. A lot of people have that midday drop off where they feel slumped and lower energy. So cortisol is a stress hormone that can keep you awake and alert. But if you overdo it by constantly being in fight or flight, like we talked about, right? And you're constantly on your phone right when you wake up and you're always on the computer, you're always on the go as a business owner, that is when you're going to feel, kind of that fatigue in your body, right? That's when even cortisol can then impact inflammation levels, which is going to lower your testosterone. It's going to lower your growth hormone, right? Which is the two main driving hormones for productivity in men. If you don't have optimized testosterone levels, you're mentally not going to be sharp. You're physically not going to be sharp. You're not going to feel as motivated to do the work, and you're going to, have to motivate yourself every day just to do it versus just feeling like you're ready to rock and roll because your body is totally optimized.
What are like the top 3 things to control the cortisol levels?
I mean, dude, to control your cortisol, great sleep is really important, right? Your body is regulating your stress in your sleep, right? So getting uninterrupted sleep. People think, oh, it's normal to wake up during the night. Bro, I don't wake up once in the night. You shouldn't even be waking up to go pee.
Yeah.
If you're waking
You
up
should
to
be
go,
out.
if you're waking up to go pee in the middle of the night, that means that either A, your blood sugar is out of control, or B, your cortisol is too high, right? So those are 2 things you can fix through diet and reducing screen time, either right when you wake up or before you go to bed. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, no screen time. That's going to help your body to produce more melatonin in the evening so you can get better rest. That's going to help you to regulate your cortisol levels so that you don't wake up and your cortisol is still spiked. So getting great rest at night, controlling your blood sugar through eating, more protein, a healthier nutrient dense diet. Again, which is a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs neglect because, they're just going for what's the most convenient thing. How can I make the most money? And I don't care about what I'm eating, but then what ends up happening? Then you're shooting yourself in the foot. So regulating cortisol, also get outside, get some sun. A lot of people, you're just not getting enough sunlight as well. So, I work, from home. But I purposely go outside during the day and go for a walk midday, right? That's the way I feed myself.
So why is it that like every time I get a lift in the morning, I feel so much better when I'm in the office, like especially like all these things that feel heavy. When I get that lift in first thing in the morning, I get a good night's sleep. Like the day, all those heavy moments feel a lot lighter and a lot easier to navigate through. Decision making, everything is just way crispier and easier throughout the day. My energy levels are better when I get good sleep and I get a good lift in the morning. Why is that?
Well, you got a few things working for you. A, blood flow, right? You're getting blood flow to your extremities. You're getting blood flow to your brain, right? You're getting rid of some of these toxins and this lactic acid that's just built up and the inflammation that's just built up from honestly just living our life that we live in with blue lights everywhere. And, the modern society doesn't make it easy. You literally have to fight back to be able to feel good. So that's like you regulating yourself in the morning, your blood flow in your body. You're also getting some endorphins post lift as well. From a physiological and neurological standpoint, you're also doing something that is challenging and that sometimes you don't want to do first thing in the morning. So then it makes the harder things later on in the day easier to do. There's a part of the brain that's called the AMCC. It's what it does is the more that you do hard things, this area in your brain grows and it actually increases your willpower to do harder things during the day.
Interesting. So psychologically, it's like, hey, I did the hardest thing first, and now the rest of the day is downhill.
Yep.
I like that. And dude, I know some people like to work out at night, in the evening, and the afternoon. I've done that before in the past, but today, dude, if I don't make it in the morning, I won't go at night. It's just like when I get out of the office, dude, I'm exhausted. The last thing I want to do is go to the gym. Energy levels are down there. But I noticed like even the energy at the gym that I go to in the morning, like first thing in the morning, people are there like attacking the day. They're go-getters. They're like in control of their day. And the energy is way different. Then go at night, people are like just kind of going through the motions. They're there because they have to be there. And so the whole energy is completely shifted. And every time I go at night, I'm like, I'm never coming to that again.
Yeah. And that's why
that's me though.
The clients, same thing though. The clients I work with, right? You have a family. Sometimes you have a family, right? That's going to take priority after work. You got work all day. Sometimes meetings run later. You're going to prioritize that over anything. So you got to prioritize your morning hours. Those are sacred times that I block off. And those are very sacred hours for me.
Yeah. And by the way, I encourage all listeners, go check out Michael on Instagram, at Michael Sheedy Fitness, at Michael Sheedy Fitness. And that's SHEEDY, dropping a lot of good content there. Okay. I want to talk about blood work. Why is it very important as an entrepreneur, as a high level performer, to get your blood work done?
Yeah. So here's the thing, after a certain age, right? After 30, whether you're a man or a woman, but let's talk about men because that's, where I specifically have expertise in as well. After 30, your testosterone will start to drop, right? Also with the life that you live, right? You're always on the go. You're in a higher stress state. Your growth hormone levels can also drop as well. What's been shown is high performers naturally, because of their type of lifestyle they live, will have lower growth hormone levels, right? That's going to impact your sleep. That's going to impact your energy. When you also have lower testosterone, that's going to impact all these things as well. So you can look at your body, right? You can look at somebody and go, oh, they're out of shape, right? Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just skinny, right? But if you're not looking under the hood, how do you know with clear empirical data that you are doing the right things for you, right? It's just like your business, right? You have to understand the KPIs of your business to understand where your bottlenecks to make sure that it's growing and not going backwards and you're not losing profits. The same thing goes with blood work. When you get the blood work done, you're looking at the KPIs of your body, see where you can improve to optimize your performance, both mentally and physically as well, because you could get on a diet, you could start eating well, you could start working out, and you might be fighting an uphill battle that you don't even know of because you have a vitamin deficiency. Maybe your thyroid hormones are off potentially because of either genetics or lifestyle. Your testosterone could be plummeted through the ground and you're trying to put muscle on and you're in this deficit and it's not working. So that's why getting blood work done is very important to do, because it's just like looking at the key performance indicators in a business.
And what are the main KPIs that you want to look at when you get your blood work done?
Yeah. So for men specifically, you want to make sure you're looking at total testosterone. You also want to look at free testosterone. That's something that not a lot of people consider because—
And what is the difference between the two of those? Because I think a lot of people, they get their T levels done and they're looking at one number, but what do the two numbers mean?
Well, here's the thing. You could have somebody that on paper has optimized total testosterone. And this is what's the problem with getting your blood work done through a general practitioner or your general care, your doctor, is they are not going to go into comprehensive labs because typically they don't want to charge it through insurance. So they'll just get you the most basic stuff. They'll check your testosterone and estrogen and call it a day. If you have optimized testosterone, you could still have symptoms of low testosterone if your body, it doesn't have enough free testosterone. So free testosterone is the measure of bioavailable testosterone based on what your body is actually able to have in circulation. So you could have optimized total testosterone, lower free testosterone, and still have symptoms of low testosterone, which is like you're gaining body fat, you're feeling sluggish, you're feeling tired, you're not as mentally clear, you're not as motivated in your 30s or 40s as you were in your 20s, and you're blaming it on lifestyle or something other, and you don't know potentially what it is. And that's really, dude, that's fixed with some vitamins and minerals typically. Yeah.
So give me the two sides as total free testosterone, and what was the other one?
So you got total testosterone, free testosterone. You should also check estrogen, of course. Men if you—
Do men produce estrogen?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So testosterone, estrogen is important for men as well. Estrogen helps.
I thought it was only for females.
No, females. That estrogen is the main hormone for females, but females also have testosterone as well. Much lower than men, of course, right? Like the testosterone level that you should look at as a man that's optimized should be around 850 to 950 nanograms per deciliter.
Okay. And is that free or that's total?
That's total.
That's
right?
total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Free should be, if you want to feel great, it should be in the hundreds.
Okay.
Yeah. But most men aren't there nowadays just due to either lifestyle or just the general, society that we live in and kind of the food and in our environment that we're currently in. But yeah, you should get your estrogen checked. Make sure that's in a good place. You should also be looking at your IGF-1. IGF-1 is a measure of growth hormone. That's going to also impact longevity. That's going to impact your recovery. That's going to impact your sleep. That's going to impact body fat and muscle mass as well. You should also be looking at your thyroid hormones. A lot of people don't understand or even go to check your thyroid. But if you have an underactive thyroid or an overactive thyroid, that can lead to a lot of negative symptoms that impact your productivity as a whole.
What does the thyroid mean?
So the thyroid is a gland in the neck. And what
really?
It does—
where is it in the neck?
So it's in the neck. It's right here on your neck. And basically what a thyroid does is it regulates metabolism. Okay. But metabolism isn't how many calories you burn. Metabolism is how your body utilizes nutrients, right? And how it is able to absorb nutrients. And if that is either overactive or underactive, you're going to have some negative things going on, some negative symptoms that are going to impact, either your body, maybe you're gaining a bunch of weight and you don't know why. Could be the thyroid. A lot of this is lifestyle driven though. A lot of this can be, fixed with lifestyle intervention. Sometimes, men do need to get on, hormonal replacement therapy for a couple of these things. And it's not as scary as people think it is. It's really, modern medicine has come a long way from where it used to be. And a lot of these things are very available, and it's something I, help my clients with as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So what's your take on testosterone use for the folks that have a little bit lower T levels? Do you say, hey, let's first work on some natural stuff to kind of get that up, and then roll out the T, or you say just go into the testosterone
Yeah, great question.
right out the jump?
It really depends how low they are,
Okay.
and also what their symptoms are and how old they are, right? If you got a guy who is, let's say he's 38 years old and and he hasn't been working out, he hasn't been really eating well, and his testosterone is 250 nanograms per deciliter. Even with lifestyle intervention, which would be, hey, we're going to start eating healthy, we're going to start working out, we're going to get better sleep, he's never going to be at 900. He's never going to be totally
You can't raise it
optimized.
that much naturally.
You can't. But if somebody's
How much can you raise it?
you can raise it 300 to 400 points.
Okay, so we can get him from 250 to potentially 650.
Even then, he'd probably is going to max out at like 500. And this is anecdotal. This is me looking at blood work for years and looking at all these different biomarkers. But so testosterone replacement therapy is sometimes needed both for genetic reasons and age related as well. But there is, I've had clients go from 550 or 600 up to 950 naturally when they take the right vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are really important for this, and as well as changing your lifestyle.
So I'll tell you where I was. I'm 40, and I've been tested once, and I need to do this more regularly. So I might be hitting you up after this podcast to work with you. But I was at 675, and I'm 40 years old. And so I'm like kind of at that range where it's like not low enough to where I'd want to get on that test yet. And it's like, okay, let me see like how much I can raise this naturally. So that's kind of where I'm at. What are your thoughts?
It depends if you have symptoms, right? If you you seem like a very sharp guy, you seem like you have a lot of energy. If you're having trouble putting muscle on, if you're having trouble losing body fat and you're eating well, you're not drinking alcohol, you're getting good sleep, that would be an indication to me that you would need, so you already fix a lifestyle and it's still not going above 800 and 900, and maybe you're having, if you're having a little bit of a problem changing your body composition, that could be something that you need to look into. And a lot of men go, well, I want to have kids, so I don't want to get on testosterone because it could potentially impact fertility. Well, there's other hormonal replacement modalities that you can use that won't impact fertility long term, like enclomiphene. Enclomiphene is something that's been used recently, and it helps to increase testosterone by increasing your fertility hormones, which is your FSH and your LH, which is the follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone, which doesn't impact fertility later down the road. Will get you up to that higher number. But if it does, you should be getting blood work done twice a year. And if you see over time that your testosterone is not improving and it's going down and your body composition isn't changing, or I know you don't have symptoms of low energy, I can tell. Then that would be a point where you would consider, if you've already had kids.
Yeah. I think I need to get tested again, because when I got tested, it was 675. I was coming off of a season of like towards the end of the summer where I was drinking. I wasn't like super dialed with my eating either. And right now I'm in a season of like sobriety, and I'm pretty dialed with like my eating, my diet, and my fitness right now. And I haven't drank since New Year's Eve.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
I should get retested now to see if that went up.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
This is end of last summer.
End of last summer?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time to get it redone. See where it's at. And if it's gone up, great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
And then if it's gone up, then hey, there's something to work with here. But
Yeah.
if it hasn't gone up and you have the other symptoms, what are the symptoms of low T that you say, okay,
Yeah.
get on it?
Yeah. So symptoms of low testosterone would be, you are in the gym, you're working out, you're doing cardio, you're eating well, but your body fat isn't lowering like it should, right? And this happens like when you're in your 20s, right? You don't have the business yet. You don't have the family yet, right? You can eat pizza and still get shredded. Your testosterone's through the roof. It's easy to do. So that would be an indication there. Maybe you're having trouble putting on some muscle. You see these guys, why are these guys, putting on muscle faster than me? Bro, it's their hormones, right? Their hormones are optimized. You could eat the same diet and not get the same results. That would be another one. Mental clarity. The biggest sign for me of somebody that has lower testosterone. I can literally talk to a client, not even see their blood work. They could tell me what their symptoms are, and I'm like, oh, they have low testosterone, right? Immediately, a sign, a telltale sign would be brain
Yep.
fog.
Brain fog.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
brain fog is a sign of lower than normal. Let's call it normal, but not optimized testosterone levels, and also just lower energy levels. The second one would be lower motivation. If you don't feel excited and fired up, and like you don't feel like you want to get after it as much as you did when you're 20s, it's not because you got older. It's because your hormones aren't optimized. Purely that.
Yeah. I always say most men die at 25 but aren't buried to the 75. But the low T has something to do with that.
100%. 100%.
Because 25 is when the T starts to drop, right?
Mhm.
30, it really starts to drop. 40.
Yep.
And so I'm 40 right now. I'm going to get retested. And maybe I'll work with you, but I want to get retested and kind of see where I'm at. I've always said, hey, like, you know, in 10 years when I'm 50, maybe I want to have that as an option. But let me ask you this question. Is it true that when you start taking testosterone, that your body will start producing natural testosterone?
Yeah, you will. So, and that's the thing that men have. The biggest concern for men, two things when they take testosterone. They are concerned that their balls are going to shrink, testicular atrophy,
Okay.
which happens if
That's
you're
a
on
real thing.
Yeah, your balls will shrink
How
when
small
you're
do they get?
like almonds. No, I don't know.
Damn, almonds.
Here's the thing: men are more concerned about their ball size than women are. No woman has ever seen a man with small balls that never said anything. So a lot of men say that, oh, you know, this is something I'm concerned about. Your balls will shrink when you're on testosterone, but they will go back to where they were after you get off of it. The other concern is, oh, when I get on testosterone, I'm not going to be able to have kids. If you are on testosterone for longer than 6 months, your natural testosterone production, your fertility hormones will shut down, and it will be harder to get them back up to a level where you're fertile again. But it is possible with HCG and Clomid.
Okay. So for me, knowing that I want to have 4 kids, I
Yeah.
haven't started yet. I'm 40. My girlfriend's 24.
Yep.
I want to have 4 kids. If I go retest and I go from 675 to maybe 850, then you probably say, hey, let's roll with not using it now, and maybe we'll do it later. Is that your advice or no?
Say that again. Say that again.
So if I want to have 4 kids,
Yeah.
okay. I'm 40 right now. My girlfriend's 24. I want to have 4 kids sometime in the next 10 years. Okay. And I was 675. I get retested. I go from 675 to 850, let's say. Would you say, all right, hold off on the T?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. But we also got to look at the free testosterone. We also got to look at your SHBG, which is a sex hormone binding globulin. I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah.
And you got to look at your fertility hormones, because there's so many more things. It's not just testosterone. There's so many more other metrics that go into there. But if you're 850, yeah, there's like,
Then just roll with it.
and you're doing it like, you know, you're killing it with your mental clarity, and your fertility hormones are on point. Then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How does the alcohol play into the T levels?
Alcohol, you know, here's the thing, you know, it's alcohol is such a socially acceptable habit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, many
It's diminishing
people,
though.
yeah, it is, right? The alcohol consumption is going down.
Yeah.
It is, right?
A lot of these restaurant owners that even some of these guys I bring on the podcast, they got channels on Food Network and all that, and they're telling me, like, you know, the millennials and the Gen Zers even more so, they're not spending money on alcohol. And so what's happening is they're having to increase their prices on the entrees because people aren't spending money on cocktails, and cocktails in the
Interesting.
restaurant industry
Yeah.
is like the highest margin thing that you could buy.
Yeah. You know, I think there's still a large, and maybe that's that demographic, right? But let's talk about men over 40, right? Who like, you know, nice wines or a nice bourbon or a nice tequila.
Dude, I love a nice glass of wine, man.
Yeah. So even me, like, dude,
And tequila.
I like tequila. Tequila, you know, if I drink, it's gonna be tequila.
Give me some reposado.
Yeah, tequila is the cleanest alcohol to drink. It has prebiotics in it, so it's better for digestion, better for gut health. It's not going to cause as much inflammation. You're not going to have as much of a hangover. But the alcohol specifically is probably one of the most negative things that you can use or do for your body composition, for your mental clarity, and also for your hormones as well. Alcohol does, when you're consuming it, impact a lot of the hormones in your body. It impacts your thyroid, which can then also make you gain a bunch of body fat. It also impacts your testosterone and your growth hormone as well. That's why when people stop drinking, you could do nothing different. You could be working out all the time, eating well. You're drinking alcohol. You cut out alcohol, now you look like a freaking, you know, a male model. You know.
Yeah. No, the alcohol is big, and I know everyone's got like their own thing that kind of works for them, but I started limiting alcohol about 1.5 years ago. and I did a season of 75 days, and it changed my life. I had never gone more than a week without drinking up until that point, and everything changed for me. My mental clarity, my fitness, my relationships, my business, everything grew. There was not one bad thing that came out of it. But for me, like, I think it's also important to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So I like to approach my business, and the alcohol thing is like, I'll do 60 days, 90 days, maybe 100 days of like just going ham in the business, grinding, leveling up in every aspect, fitness, business, etc., and then cutting out the alcohol. And then I'm like, cool. I just went on a sprint for 90 days. Like, let me enjoy it for a month, enjoy the fruits of your labor, kind of reset, go out. I need to go out to eat. I love going out to eat. I love having a nice glass of wine. And, a little late night party every now and then. Like,
Yeah.
it's good for you.
Yeah.
And so, but then that gives me the ability to reset. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good for another 90-day stretch now. That's what works for me. People listening to this, they probably all have something else that works for them. What works for you?
Yeah. For me, I don't like drinking alcohol often. I will drink. If I do drink, again, it'll be tequila. I drink tequila. There's a restaurant here in Las Vegas called Herbs and Rye, or not, sorry, in Las Vegas, not here, but in Las Vegas called Herbs and Rye that has my favorite tequila drink. But I'll probably have that twice a year.
Reposado, Blanco?
Blanco.
Blanco,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I don't drink often at all, and it's not just because I want to be shredded. It's because I want to be mentally clear. For me, when I'm not drinking alcohol, I don't have to wake up the next day. Even if I have 1 or 2 drinks, I still wake up the next day and have a little bit of brain fog. I want to feel mentally sharp all the time. I want to be present all the time. I want to be sharp all the time.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I think a lot of people drink socially. I was one of those people where I would drink 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3 glasses of wine. But 2 to 3 glasses of wine, the next day you're operating at like 30%, 50% of your normal capacity. And if you're doing it 3 times a week, that's 6 days a week where you're kind of like operating at 50%. That's a big difference compounded over 6 months, 12 months, over the course of a couple of years. If you're a high performer and you got to be dialed every day.
Yeah, it just depends where you're at, right? Like if you're massively overweight, or if you're out of shape and you're drinking alcohol, 3 or 4 nights a week, you got to earn it. Get yourself in great shape, and then have the ability to go and have, a couple glasses of wine or a couple tequila drinks or bourbon, right? But if you're not in good shape, you don't like the way you look, you don't like the way you feel, you cannot justify drinking multiple times a week and then use that as well as like, well, I still want to be able to drink and get to where I want to go. Like, bro, no, you need to dial in before you
Mhm.
you have to earn everything.
Yeah. I would say if you have big goals in 2026, alcohol is not your friend. But I love what you said. You said you have to earn it. And this is very important for everyone listening, because for me, when I say, hey, you have to, it's important to enjoy the fruits of your labor when you level up. Yes, enjoy it, but you have to earn it. Happiness stems from growth and progress. And going out every night, it's like, how often, everyone listening to this has been there. I'm sure you've been there too, where like you're going out so much and like enjoying like nice drinks and dinner and parties and all this sort of stuff, but deep down you didn't really earn it. Like, what do we celebrate?
It's not even as enjoyable.
It's
right?
not enjoyable.
It's King's disease.
Yes.
King's disease.
And that's why for me, when I do these 90-day stretches, 100-day stretches, like right now to start the year, I'm doing the first 3 months of the year, Q1, like no alcohol. And I know once I get to the end of the 90 days, like I'm going to go out and enjoy a nice glass of wine. But because I just leveled up in every single facet in my business, in my personal life, in my fitness, my relationships, that glass of wine is going to be way more enjoyable because I earned it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And most people are drinking typically often as well to take the edge off, and because it's something that makes them feel good, because they're not doing the uncomfortable work in the name of growth to actually make them feel good.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, I'm going to take it a step further. This is where it can get challenging. When you're single, and by the way, you got your lady right here watching the podcast right now, but this is where it gets tricky if you're cutting out alcohol. When you're single and you're like going out on dates, it makes it a little bit awkward going on dates, first dates, getting to know a new partner, and like you're not drinking. I don't know about you, but I think that it is nice to be able to enjoy some drinks if you're like dating someone. You agree?
Yeah, I could see that. I also think that you should really work on sharpening your social skills
Ooh, okay.
without needing liquid courage.
Yeah.
That's a solid challenge in itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like,
okay.
You need alcohol to overcome something that you haven't sharpened and worked on?
Yeah, that's really good. That's fair. My girlfriend hasn't drank in like over 500 days. And so she'll come out and she might have like a mocktail or have like a Red Bull if we're going out. So I get it. And I'm one of those people, like when I do go out and I'm in a season of sobriety, I have no problem going out into social settings and like interacting with people. I'll typically just do like a Pellegrino, with a little lemon lime on the side, and I'm good. But where I start to like tap out is when people start repeating their stories to me and they start slurring their words. I'm like, all right, I'm cutting out. I'm going to sleep. But that's probably around the time of the night where you probably should be going to
Nothing
sleep.
good happens, yeah,
Nothing
after
good
that
happens
time.
after
Yeah.
midnight. And I think for me, man, like when I'm in these like seasons of being dialed, like the two keys for me is like sobriety and like going to bed early. Like going to bed on time is such a
Massive.
big thing.
So many people struggle with that.
Like 8:30, I like to, my girlfriend and I like to wind down. It's like, okay, phone's away, shower, get ready for bed, and like we're in bed by 9. If I can do that, I'm freaking dialed the next day. Where I get into trouble, where I ended up skipping the gym, is if I'm up too late. I'm like, oh shit, it's fucking 10, 10:30. I don't fall asleep till 11. Then it's like, dude, good luck, you
Yeah,
know? So,
yeah.
I think that's one
I
of the
agree.
biggest things. So, okay, question for you, man. You talk about how like bodybuilding coaches might not be the best fit for business owners, real estate investors, high performers. Why do you say that?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We have this growth on social media with coaches. There's so many, trainers or people that have done, bodybuilding competitions that are now offering their services, and they're targeting, high performers or high level business owners because they know that they have money to pay them. The issue is a lot of these bodybuilders and coaches come from the background where they're eating 6 to 7 meals a day of chicken and asparagus, and they don't understand the lifestyle that entrepreneurs live. They don't understand the delegation, the time, what they're able to do. You can't spend 2.5 hours, 3 hours in a gym. You
Yes.
can't eat 6, 7 times a day.
No.
So the
Yeah,
issue
eating
is,
6 or 7 times a
yeah,
day, that's a lot of time.
yeah, and so you end up getting into the, success trap mindset when you commit to something that is not the bottom floor that you can commit to because you have a coach that doesn't understand your lifestyle.
And when you say success trap mindset, elaborate on that.
All or nothing. A lot of
Mm,
entrepreneurs are all or nothing.
yes.
So if they try to go all in and into something, into a program that's not sustainable for them, then they end up beating
Ah,
themselves up. They fall off, and that's why they're constantly in these yo-yo diets and yo-yo
mm,
changes, and they're not making anything sustainable in their life.
yeah. So what is your advice for, let's say someone listening to this right now, they're a busy entrepreneur, business owner, someone like myself, and maybe they're not in the best shape of their life, and they're like, dude, I want to get in the best shape here in 2026. I want to work with Michael Sheedy. What kind of sustainable platform or program do you think is going to be conducive long term?
Yeah, I think the first question you got to ask yourself is, why are you currently here? Why haven't you yet made the change? And why do you want to make the change? One of the first things that I ask a client before I work with them, and we talked about this as well before the podcast, is, well, what's your purpose? Why do you want to get healthy? It's much easier to sustain the action level it takes to get in great shape if you tie it to something other than just losing weight, and you tie your goals to your values. When you can tie your fitness and your health goals into your values, now you can actually measure it based on what values are important to you. Is it your family? Do you want to be able to, be in better shape for your kids and lead them by example and have them see a dad that's in great shape and fit? Is it for your business, right? You can tie your fitness goals into your business. Oh, I know that I've been suffering with lower levels of energy. So if I commit to my fitness goals, I'm going to have higher energy at work. I'm going to be a better leader. I'm going to be more productive and make more money. Right? So now we flip the paradigm in how we think about our fitness goals. Instead of just losing weight, we're tying it into our purpose, which makes it more intentional. When we increase the emotional intensity behind the reason to do something, it's much easier to get out of bed in the morning and go do cardio versus having a bodybuilder coach tell you that you need to get up and go do an hour of cardio, right? That being said, the easiest way to get started is to create a higher level of emotional intensity to your goals, and really get moving, right? A lot of entrepreneurs overcomplicate it, right? It's simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. You're going to have to dedicate more time to this area if you want to improve in it, just like anything else. But you need to move more, which means you need to get more steps in, right? Get yourself doing some more walks. Make it a part of your daily routine, whether it's in the morning, whether it's you get a walking pad for your office, right? Or you just start taking walks outside with your team. If you have phone calls to do, go outside, take a phone call outside instead of sitting in your office on your desk, right? Cut out the bullshit, right? Make it more convenient for you to hit your goals. Some of you have a family that's tough, but throw away all the snacks, throw away, all the
That's big.
sugary food. If you can
That's really big.
cut out sugar, cut out alcohol, replace it with protein. Bare minimum, eat protein 3 times a day. Wake up and eat protein in the morning, right? Don't skip breakfast. A lot of people skip breakfast because they go, oh, I'm doing fasting, right? But it's really just an undisciplined way of eating, and that's why they end up craving food later in the day,
Yeah.
right?
What are your thoughts on on weighing food? Because I know a lot of fitness trainers say, hey, like you should be weighing your macros and all that. But then again, it's like as a business owner, like I know for me, I don't want to be weighing my food. Personally, I'm in a cut right now. And luckily my girlfriend, she stays at home and she knows how to do all that stuff. So she's weighing my stuff, but I just eat what she makes me. And so I don't have to think about it. So it's essentially like I got my own personal like fitness program going on. But like, what are your thoughts? Someone listening to this, they're a busy entrepreneur. Should they be weighing all their stuff? Or like, what's your advice there?
Here's my advice, and you can understand this. What you're able to measure is also what you're able to track. How do you
Mm,
know what direction you're going in if you're not
yeah,
looking at, the tangible metrics of measurement?
that's a
That
good
being
point.
said, I delegate. I delegate as well, right? I have a, an assistant that makes my food for me and goes to the grocery store. Before that, I used a meal prep service. I think time is the most valuable asset that business owners have and that we have. Where are you spending your time? And it shouldn't be in the kitchen cooking for 12 hours a week. So meal prep services, I think, are, an awesome alternative to that as well, because you do need to make sure that you're eating, similar, macros on a daily basis. Because if you're not going to be able to track your results.
hmm It's funny you mentioned like food delivery, and when I'm like most of the time I just have my team, so my EA will literally like just order me. There's a couple of like go-tos that I have. She'll just order me lunch every single day, because I'm like, I don't have the time. It just shows up. But I'm curious for you, for a business owner out there or a real estate investor, listen to this business owner that's out of shape right now and they just want some good Uber Eats, like quick hitter meals that are like on the go that are gonna be relatively healthy. What are like 2 or 3 Uber Eats meals that are relatively healthy that you like for entrepreneurs?
You can never go wrong with Mediterranean food,
Mm,
right? Because it's rice and protein.
yes.
A lot of people
And
deem
pretty
it.
clean.
Yeah, it's clean, bro. Yeah, right. Like, stay away from the dairy, stay away from the cheese, stay away from high fats. If you eat a high fat diet, high fat gets converted to fat, right? And if you're starting to work out, white rice is fine. You're not going to gain fat from eating white rice. White rice is demonized. So I like Mediterranean. That's an easy go-to. You can look that up in your area. So, white rice and chicken or even steak, something like that. You could also do like sashimi. Like, if you
Mm,
if you like sushi,
love
just
sushi.
eat a bunch of sashimi.
Yeah.
You can't get fat eating too much protein, right? It's when you go to sushi and you're eating all these rolls with this mayo and then the eel sauce, and trust me, I like it, but I just don't eat it all the time because it's also gonna fuck up your gut. But I would say sashimi, I would do Mediterranean food, and then, bottom of the barrel, but also doable because it's everywhere, is Chipotle.
What do you like to get at Chipotle?
If so I'd probably eat at Chipotle probably twice a year. It would be like that's also, kind of like a treat for me. I'm very, disciplined with how I approach my food
And
personally,
and what do
just
you
'cause I
get
like the
there?
way I feel. If I go to Chipotle, I am ordering double chicken, I'm ordering white rice, I'm ordering a little bit of black beans, I'm doing the peppers. Those are great for the antioxidants. Doing a little bit of lettuce, no corn because corn has no nutritional value. I'm not doing sour cream because then we're getting some extra fat calories. I'm doing no cheese, and I'm gonna do a little bit of guac, a little bit of extra fats. You mix that up in the bowl, good to go.
Mm. Dude, don't tell my girlfriend this, but she made some meal prep for the week. I got one in here in the fridge. And we always order food in the office. Every Friday I order lunch for the entire team. And so they did Chipotle today. And so Alex is like, "Hey, like do you want to get in on the order?" And I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. Let's do it." So I had a little Chipotle today.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, can't tell the girl though.
Yeah, did you
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you have cheese on it?
Honestly, she just ordered, I think she just got, like, a protein bowl, and I
Okay.
just I just ate
Yeah.
it, whatever it
Yeah.
was, dude. I
Okay.
ate I ate it in, like, 7
Yeah, they have
minutes.
higher protein options now because they came out with a GLP-1 menu.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
Chipotle did.
okay.
Yeah.
And so those are really three really good options for if someone's busy. I love Greek food, and I also love that you said sushi. I love sushi, like, my girlfriend, that's our favorite thing to go out to eat, and like you said, the sashimi, it's all protein, relatively clean. They don't even cook it, that's how clean it is, and low calorie, which is nice, and it doesn't like I think the thing with sushi, which I love, is, like, you can eat a bunch of sashimi, and it doesn't, like, make you feel sluggish and tired after you eat it, like, you still feel good
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah,
energized.
eating raw is good. If you can eat raw,
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah.
I had on speaking of raw, I had on the producer, the creative director of Liver King. He was the one that built up Liver King's brand and all that before the steroid thing and all that. But I had him in this chair and I was like, dude, did Liver King really eat all that raw stuff? And he's like, yeah, he did eat all that raw stuff, man. And I was like, did you? He's like, yeah, he would get down on it too. Someone was telling me recently, speaking of food, it was In-N-Out. And this dude, he's like, dude, I lost 100 pounds. And he was like, show me photos. Like 2 years ago, this is where I was. And he looked really good. And he's like, yeah, I used to work at In-N-Out. And he said a couple times a week he would go to In-N-Out while he lost 100 pounds. And he would eat, I forget the name of it, but it would just basically be the patty. I don't think any cheese. I think it was one cheese and then like 2 or 3 patties in there.
Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Flying Dutchman for someone that just wants a lot of protein, low calories, if they're going to go to like fast food?
I wouldn't do it because, you're getting a ton of fat, right?
You're not a fan.
The ground beef has a ton of fat.
Mm.
The cheese has a ton of fat. For him, what that did, it's basically like a keto diet, right? He probably had a hard time cutting out carbohydrates. That's what a lot of people do. They cut out something and they don't replace it with something else. So the keto diet works where you're eating high fats, and that's what he did. He ate high protein, high fats. So it kept him satiated and full. But if you're somebody who is trying to get in great shape and you want to feel good as well, because I don't just measure, here's the thing, I don't measure health success just on the way you look. I also measure it based on the way you feel. And there's no way that I'm eating In-N-Out multiple times a week and feeling mentally sharp, right? There's much better options.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you're going to go to In-N-Out, if you were, if I'm going to go to In-N-Out, I'm just going to get a burger, right? But if you're going to go there and you want to make that like something that, I still feel like I'm eating In-N-Out.
Yeah, what would
I'll
you
just do
get?
a protein style. No cheese, protein style. You could do mustard, grilled onions, some pickles, and that you could do 2 patties.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
One thing I like to order is I'll order like a double with extra chopped chilies.
Yeah.
They'll chop up the banana peppers and they'll cook
I
it
do
in
the
there
same
with
thing.
the patty and the cheese. You done it before?
Oh, bro, that's my favorite. I just learned about that like 2 years ago.
It makes it like a spicy burger and it tastes completely different. And I liked In-N-Out before. It was decent.
Yeah.
But then after I tried the chopped chilies, I'm like, damn, it's a game changer.
Yeah, you're making me crave it now, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll get it tomorrow night.
Dude, and then you can throw it in there with like the animal style fries too.
Yeah.
Like extra chopped chilies in the animal style fries, and like it'll melt in there with the cheese.
Yeah.
Is bomb.
I'll wake up the next day after eating that and I'll feel like I went on a bender the night before or something. I'll feel hungover.
Yeah, no, I feel you. So what are your thoughts on Ozempic?
What exactly?
I think a lot of people, well, it's something right now that a lot of people are on. I mean, not just, it started with like people up in, Beverly Hills, Hollywood that had money and these like higher net worth celebrities and that kind of stuff. But now you're seeing all sorts of people throughout the entire country, middle class people, everyday people just taking Ozempic for weight loss. And what are your thoughts on it? Like, is it something that you believe in?
So Ozempic is a GLP-1. It has been around for a very long time. It was originally created for people who were suffering from insulin resistance, right? And they were pre-diabetic, to help them to regulate their blood sugar levels, typically people that were also overweight. That would help them to be able to lose weight, improve their health. What's happened is it's gained a massive popularity. They even had a Super Bowl ad with GLP-1s that they were advertising for a telehealth company, right? Like I was telling you, Chipotle even came out with a GLP-1 friendly menu. So it's become so mainstream for the general public now to use GLP-1s. And instead of it being used as something to improve health, people are now using Ozempic for vanity purposes instead, without understanding what the drug is, what the drug does, and potential negative long-term side effects, which, can be very negative. And so it's something that I understand the science in certain people. Like, yeah, definitely. If you're overweight and you're having trouble losing weight and you're insulin resistant, which is your body's not regulating blood sugar, which means you're gaining fat, very quickly, then it's going to help you to start losing weight. And then you can get in the gym and you can work out. But if you're somebody who is using Ozempic, GLP-1s, GLP-2s, and GLP-3s, which is retatrutide, which has gained a lot of popularity, Reta as well, you are at the risk, unless you're eating enough protein, unless you're doing resistance training, of losing muscle, slowing your metabolism, losing bone density, and causing problems for your health in the long term. You're also slowing down gut motility, which is your digestive process, which can impact your gut health. So a lot of these people are using it for vanity purposes and fucking up their health.
Yeah, it's I don't know too much about it, but I'm like, it seems like it's the kind of the shortcut. It's the easy way out. It's like cheating. But do you think it's better to take Ozempic than to just do the other route where you're just like, hey, I'm not going to work out. I'm just going to eat whatever and then become obese? Like, I
Is it
wonder
is
what's
it
better long term.
I mean, it's 100% better to nail down the foundations
Yeah.
of good health, which is move your body, work out, eat well, get good sleep, drink enough water. I mean, that's how you improve your health and longevity, and that's worked for, for it stands the test of time. GLP-1s are a new thing, and modern medicine is great, right? Like, I'm not opposed, to hormonal replacement therapy, or even some of these peptides are actually, great in certain use cases. But right now there's this trend in the social media world, and where a lot of people are promoting these drugs and these compounds and selling them to people who don't know anything about them or their potential side effects. And I think we're going to see some things happening later down the line with people that are probably filing, class action lawsuits against some of these companies.
Damn, that's crazy, dude. What are your thoughts on these gene break tests that like tell you the breaks in your genes?
Oh, dude, I think they're great. I think here's the thing. I am really big on getting all of the metrics together you can when you're trying to improve your health, right? It's just like if you were to buy a business, you want to know everything about the business. You want to know, if it's a product-based business, what they're buying it for, how much they're selling it for, what's their return on ad spend, what's their, cost per acquisition for each customer. Same thing with your body, right? In your body, you want to understand every single metric that you can possible so that your work isn't for naught, right? And you want to understand your specific genetics. My genetics are different than yours, right? That means my body metabolizes carbohydrates differently. That means I might need more sleep than you do. Even you can test your genes for sleep. You can test your genes for if you're more prone to, depression and anxiety. And what to do to combat that. You can test it for what vitamins that you are able to absorb better than others, what vitamins you need specifically to your genes. So I think it's great to get these tests done because you're able to get a full kind of workup of your health and your body specifically to you. So then you can go, what action steps do I need to take to achieve this goal? Just like you would do if you bought a business.
That's really good. You mentioned early in the show that how important sleep is. What are like some measures that you believe in that people can take supplements that will improve your sleep?
Yeah. So a really good supplement that I take every day, and anybody can take this without negative side effects, is magnesium biglycinate. Magnesium helps to improve the quality of your sleep by reducing central nervous system stress, which is what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast. And magnesium biglycinate specifically is more bioavailable, which means it crosses the blood-brain barrier, gets absorbed by your body, and is going to help you to sleep. Because not all magnesium is the same. Different magnesiums do different things in your body, but magnesium biglycinate specifically is great for your sleep quality.
I never knew how to pronounce it till now, bro.
Yeah.
You taught me all sorts of different stuff.
Let's go.
And so, what about melatonin? Are you a fan of that?
Yeah, melatonin is great.
It's good?
Yeah. It's
all natural?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of new studies on melatonin as well, right? Our body's already produced melatonin. You're just, putting more in it. And it also has other positive benefits as well, but it's false that if you take melatonin, it shuts down your body's natural ability to produce it. If I always say less is more, right? Like there's a point of over optimization and taking too many supplements, which I've ran into people that are just on this, bucket list of supplements, and it ends up being too much. So, a lot of sleep is determined by, are you getting sunlight during the day? Are you regulating your circadian rhythm? The best way to improve your sleep, believe it or not, is going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time. Best way to improve your sleep.
On that notion, like they say the temperature of your room is very, very important?
Yep.
Is that true that you actually do get better sleep if the room is like in the 60s, mid 60s?
Yep. Yeah. You want to keep your room cold. It does help your body to get into a deeper REM sleep at night.
We, my girlfriend and I will do, the thermostat is out in the living room, and in the room, it actually runs a little bit warmer. So I'll have to really dial the thermostat down to get the room cold. So I go 61 with the thermostat, which a lot of people probably think is crazy, but we go 61 every single night. We got the fan on, and it's freaking freezing, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's free. I don't want to get out of bed in the morning.
Great for sleep quality.
It makes it tough to wake up in the morning because we usually wake up when it's still dark outside.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, dude, freaking sleep like a baby, bro.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Michael, this has been great, man. Where can the folks get in touch with you if they want to work with you, get dialed with your program, all the good stuff that you got?
Yeah. So you can find me. My website is michaelsheedyfitness.com. You can see all of my testimonials, clients I've worked with, what I do. You can also reach out for coaching. Also, I'm very active on my Instagram at Michael Sheedy Fitness. You can also reach out there. I also have some great content.
Yep. And what's the landing page to go to your website?
It's michaelsheedyfitness.com.
Dude, I'm going to have to hit you up, man. I want to get my blood work done again and like everything you're doing. My man, appreciate you coming on. He's Michael Sheedy. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys the next one. Peace.